All right, let's talk about an art form where patience isn't just, a good thing to have, it's the main ingredient. We're diving deep into the absolutely incredible world of Vietnamese lacquerware.
So let me ask you something. Think about a truly beautiful object, something with a flawless, perfect surface. What if I told you that surface wasn't made in a day, not even a week, but over months of incredibly detailed, repetitive, and honestly, backbreaking work?
Because here's the thing, the story of this craft, it doesn't start in some fancy artist's studio. Nope. It starts out in a forest with one very specific kind of tree. So that's where we're going to start, from tree to treasure. You really have to begin here to get how this art form is, well, literally rooted in the landscape of Vietnam.
Okay, so the whole process kicks off with a single natural material. It's a resin, a sap, that's tapped from the Khe Sern tree. And get this tree only grows in one specific province in Vietnam. That means you can't just make this stuff anywhere. Its identity is completely tied to its home. The Vietnamese have a great name for it, Sun Mai. And what I find so fascinating is that this one word means two things at the same time. It's the name for the raw sap, the material, and it's the name for the whole complicated art form. The material and the method, they're totally inseparable. And yeah, this isn't some new trend. We are talking about a tradition that goes back over 800 years. Just think about that for a second. That's generations and generations passing down these skills, a lot of the time in the very same family-run workshops that are still around today. Incredible. So how in the world does that raw tree sap turn into a masterpiece? Well, let's dig into the process, because honestly, it is all about the layers. At first glance, the process seems pretty straightforward, right? You take a wooden base, you coat it with some black lacquer, you add more layers of colored lacquer, maybe some cool details like silver leaf, and then you seal it up with a final clear coat. Sounds simple enough. Yeah, well, it's not that simple, because here's the secret ingredient. This is the one step that changes absolutely everything. Between every single one of those layers, the whole piece gets sanded down, by hand, every single time. And this is where you really start to see what makes this so special. Most other lacquer styles might have, 5, maybe 10 layers? But a traditional Vietnamese Son Mai piece, it can have up to 30 layers. 30! And remember, that's 30 times it's been painted, dried, and then sanded all the way down by hand before you can even think about the next coat. I mean, the time commitment is just staggering. We're not talking about a project that takes a few days. We're talking weeks, and often it stretches into 2 or even 3 months just to finish one single piece. It's just a mind-blowing testament to focus and pure dedication. Okay, so you have to be asking, why? Why go through all that trouble? What's the payoff for a process that is so demanding? Well, let's get into what makes these pieces so incredibly unique. All of that painstaking work results in something truly extraordinary. For one, these pieces are unbelievably durable. Their resistance to heat, to water, to just about anything. They also have this deep, lustrous sheen. It's almost like looking into liquid. That's the light literally reflecting back through all those polished layers. And as if that's not enough, the materials are totally natural and eco-friendly. And this really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? All those thin, hand-sanded layers, they're not just for show. They build a real physical depth, a resilience that you just can't fake with a few thick coats of paint. It's the difference between a superficial shine and a deep glow that seems to come from within the piece itself. But look, these objects are so much more than just the sum of their layers. They're really artifacts of a living, breathing culture. They're a true cultural legacy. This isn't some mass production factory line we're talking about. For more than 8 centuries, this special knowledge has been protected and passed down inside small, family-run enterprises. Every single piece carries with it a human story, a story of skill, of heritage, and of community. There's a quote that just captures this idea so perfectly. It says, "This art form beckons us not merely to look, but to see the work, the culture, and the history it represents." It's really an invitation, isn't it? To see past the beautiful object and to see the work, the culture, and the centuries of history packed inside it. And that kind of leaves us with a final thought, doesn't it? In our world, a world that's all about speed and getting things done fast, What can we learn from an art form that finds its highest beauty in being slow, in being patient, and in the pursuit of perfection?